everyone, it's Tammy over here at Braun-Bostich and Associates. Today we're going to dive into saving for education with the 529 plan. College saving can be overwhelming and even confusing at times for parents and guardians, but one thing is for certain, it's better to start sooner rather than later. So if you already don't have a plan, it's never too late to get one into place. However much you can afford to contribute, big or small, start now. You should save early and save often. So, what is a 529 plan? A 529 plan is a college savings account that's tax advantaged. The benefits include it's flexible. The funds can be used toward private colleges or state universities. There's no minimum initial investment amount. So, if you have $20, you can start there. The beneficiaries can be changed. Um, a lot of states offer state tax deductions on the contribution amounts, and Pennsylvania is one of those states. But the best part is your contributions grow tax-free year after year in the account and can be withdrawn tax-free as long as the funds are used toward a qualified education expense. So, what is a qualified education expense? This definition is fairly broad and flexible too. You can use the funds toward tuition, other fees, books, room and board, things like lab equipment or other equipment, even a laptop. And sometimes internet access can be a qualified expense too. The funds aren't limited to like your traditional 4-year college. They can be used toward tech schools, cosmetology, plumbing, computer programming, just to name a few. um, and certain elementary schools and secondary schools tuition are qualified expenses too, up to like a limited amount. So who can contribute to a 529 plan? Anyone can open a 529 plan for the benefit of any other individual, and then anyone else can contribute to that plan too. There's no restrictions or income limits on the beneficiaries or the people who contribute. There's no annual limit on contributions amount into a 529 plan, but there are lifetime limits for the beneficiary. So even if the beneficiary has more than one 529 plan, the lifetime limit is across every account in that child's name. So the states set their own limits, and this can range anywhere from a little over $200,000 up to almost $600,000 over the lifetime of the account. Now, keep in mind, this might trigger gift tax if it's more than the annual gift tax exclusion to a single person in a single year. The next thing I want to talk about is how are 529s invested, or how should they be invested? Now, they do have fewer investment options than, say, like a regular brokerage account. They are generally invested very aggressively when the child is young or a baby even. And as the child goes through elementary school, middle school, and up to high school, the investments become more conservative. And once they reach 18, in theory, the child will start to pull from the account in the next year or the next 4 years. Now, that's not to say it has to be invested that way. If you have a higher tolerance for risk, you can keep the account invested aggressively over the lifetime, 18 years, up to 25 years, whatever you choose until you're ready to use the funds. Now, one hesitation clients have about opening a 529 plan for a child or a grandchild is, what if my child doesn't end up going to school after high school? Well, you actually have a few options here. You can change the beneficiary, like we said earlier. Typically, that would be like to a sibling or a cousin or somebody, some relative. You can cut your losses and pay tax on the earning in the accounts. You'll also pay a 10% penalty on the withdrawals. This isn't recommended, but you do always have access to the funds for any reason if you need them, with the penalty, of course. And thanks to the Secure Act, you now have the option of rolling the funds into a Roth IRA in the beneficiary's name, penalty free. So there's no penalty, and it doesn't trigger a taxable event for the owner of the account or the beneficiary of the account. You do have to have the 529 plan established and in place for 15 years or longer before you can start rollovers. And the rollovers are, they also must abide by the rules of the Roth IRA. So the child or the beneficiary has to have earned income in order to do the rollover. So if, let's say, they have like a part-time job and they only make $2,000 in the calendar year, then they can only contribute or roll over $2,000 of the 529 plan into the Roth IRA. And there are contribution limits. You can only do $7,000 in 2025 in 1 year. That limit does typically increase over time. And there is a lifetime limit up to $35,000 of rollover funds from the 529 to the IRA. But this does give peace of mind to those who are concerned if they might have any leftover funds, 529 funds, that will be unused. And actually, we've already had a few clients take advantage of this new rule that's only been in place since 2024. So to recap, 529 plans are flexible. There's a broad definition of qualified education expenses. Anyone can open a 529 plan for any other individual. And there are several options if you have leftover funds in the account or if the beneficiary doesn't end up going to school after high school. So the best thing is to start saving sooner rather than later. You just let us know if you have any questions on 529 plans, and thank you for listening.